Welcome to Vivid English Podcast. Hello, everyone. I am Sarah.
And I am James. It is wonderful to be here with you today.
It is so good to see you. I'm really excited about our topic today. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. Feeling energetic and ready to help our listeners learn something new. It's a beautiful day to talk about language.
It certainly is. You know, looking at the calendar, living in 2026 feels quite futuristic sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does. The way we speak, the things we talk about have shifted a little bit, but the foundations of English, they stay the same.
That is the beauty of it. Technology changes, slang changes, but the core building blocks, the grammar remain that steady ground we walk on.
And today, we're going to explore one of those essential building blocks.
We are. Today is all about comparison games. It sounds like a competition, but really it's about precision. Whether you're a beginner or an intermediate learner, mastering comparatives and superlatives is just key to describing the world accurately.
Absolutely. Our mission today is to, clear up the confusion. We know that for many learners, it is a constant struggle. And why on earth does the word change completely sometimes?
Exactly. It can be a bit of a headache. We want to fix that today. We are going to look at the rules, the exceptions, and, specifically how we use these forms in our daily conversations here in 2026.
So let's get into the details of the rules.
Let's do it.
Let's start at the very beginning. The most fundamental rule of making comparisons in English comes down to one simple thing: length.
Length.
The size of the word actually dictates how we treat it.
It's almost like a visual rule, isn't it? If the word looks small, we treat it one way. If it looks big, we treat it another.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Let's focus on short adjectives first. When I say short, I usually mean one-syllable words that are punchy and quick.
Words like fast, slow, big, or small.
Precisely. For these compact little words, English speakers prefer efficiency. We don't want to add extra words in front of them. We just want to snap a tail onto the end.
So if I'm comparing two things, I add the suffix er.
Correct. Let's take fast. If I have two electric cars and I want to say one has more speed, I just say this car is faster. Fast plus It flows faster.
And what if we are looking at a whole group, say 3 or more cars?
Then we need the superlative form. This is the top level. For short words, we add est. So fast becomes the fastest.
The fastest. I noticed you used the word the.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That is crucial. When something is the winner, the number one, it's unique. So we almost always need the article the. You can't just say it is fastest.
No.
You must say it is the fastest.
That makes sense because there can only be one winner. So
Right.
the rule is simple. Fast, faster, the fastest. Clean and simple.
However, English loves to throw a curveball.
Of course it does.
There is a specific group of words that look like they should follow one rule, but they actually require a little surgery first.
Oh, I know this group. The Y endings. These are two-syllable words that end in the letter Y. Words like happy, funny, or easy.
Exactly. Now listen to the rhythm. Happy. It has two syllables. Usually two-syllable words are considered long.
Right.
But because of that Y at the end, we treat them like short words with a twist.
Right. We can't just glue air onto the Y. The Y is a bit unstable.
That is a great way to put it. The Y is too weak to hold the ending, so We have to change the Y into an I before we add our ending.
So if I'm happy today, but I was even better yesterday.
Then yesterday you were happier. Happier. The Y became an I.
And if it was the best day of my life,
Then it was the happiest day.
I think this is where a lot of people make spelling mistakes when they're writing emails. They forget to swap the Y for the I.
It is a very common error. Just remember, the Y is shy. It hides and turns into an I when you compare.
I love that. The Y is shy. That is a great memory hook. Okay, so we have covered the small words and the shy Y words. But what about the heavyweights? The long, sophisticated adjectives.
This is where the rhythm of the language becomes the boss. When we have an adjective with 2 or more syllables, and it doesn't end in Y, we just can't add endings.
Why not? Is it just a rule, or is there a reason?
It's about the mouthfeel. Try to take the word beautiful, 3 syllables. Beautiful. Now try to add er to it. Beautiful.
Beautifuler. Oh, that is hard to say. It feels like I have peanut butter in my mouth. It's so clunky.
Exactly. It sounds clumsy. It
Yeah.
destroys the elegance of the word. So instead of making the word longer and clumsier, we bring in a helper.
A helper word. That's more, right?
Correct. We place more in front of the adjective. It acts like a stepping stone. It prepares the listener for the big word. So we say, more beautiful.
That sounds much smoother. This painting is more beautiful than that one.
And for the superlative, the top level we use the most.
The most beautiful.
Perfect. Beautiful. More beautiful. The most beautiful. This applies to almost all long words. Interesting. Expensive. Intelligent.
We never say intelligenter.
Never. That would essentially prove you are not more intelligent.
Very true. So the logic is clear. Short words are tough enough to handle an ending. Long words are too delicate, so they need a helper word like more or most.
That is the general system. But, as you know, every game has players who refuse to follow the rules.
Oh, definitely. We have the rebels. I like to call them the irregular champions.
Irregular champions. I like that title. These are words that are so old and so common that they've evolved their own unique forms. They don't take endings and they don't take more. They transform.
And these are probably the most important words for our listeners to memorize because we use them 100 times a day. We're talking about good and bad.
Yes. Let's look at good. If I eat a pizza and it is good, but then I eat another pizza that is superior, I do not say it is gooder.
Please, everyone listening, never say gooder. It sounds like a child speaking.
It does. It immediately signals that you're a beginner. The correct comparative form for good is better.
Better. A totally different word. Better.
And if that pizza is the #1 pizza in the world,
It is the best.
good, better, the best. Everyone wants to be the best. You just have to memorize this trio.
And then we have the villain of the story, the opposite of good, bad.
Right. If you have a bad cold, but your friend has one that is more severe, we don't say badder.
No, badder. That sounds like a villain in a cartoon.
It really does.
Yeah.
The word is worse. WORSE. My cold is worse than yours.
And the superlative.
The worst, with a T at the end. This is the worst weather we've had all year.
So, good, better, best, bad, worse, worst. Those are non-negotiable. You have to lock those into your memory.
There is one more irregular champion that is particularly interesting for us living in 2026. The word is far.
Far. This one is tricky because I sometimes see it spelled two different ways.
Yes. Far splits into two paths. You have farther spelled with an A and further spelled with a U. Traditionally, they were often used interchangeably. But in modern English, especially here in 2026, we have developed a clear nuance, a slight difference in meaning.
Tell us about that difference.
Farther with an A is usually reserved for physical distance, something you can measure with a ruler or a GPS.
So, my office is farther away than yours.
Exactly. It's a distance in space. But further, with a U, is frequently used for abstract ideas or to mean additional.
Can you give us a context for that?
Think about the workplace or AI interactions. You might say, we need further information before we make a decision.
Ah, I see. You can't measure information with a ruler, so it's abstract. Further information.
Correct. Or you might hear, do you have any further questions? It means more or extra questions. You wouldn't say farther questions.
That is a brilliant tip. So think A for area or physical distance, and U for unmeasured or abstract things.
That is a very clever way to remember it.
Okay, we have the basics down, but we don't just want to speak basic English. We want to be expressive. Let's talk about some advanced patterns.
I agree. Sometimes simply saying X is bigger than Y is, well, it's boring. We want to show different relationships. One of my favorites is comparing equality.
When things are the same.
Yes. For this, we use the A's as structure.
So if I want to say my new phone is equal in speed to the old model.
You would say this phone is as fast as the old model?
As fast as. It's a great way to be diplomatic. You aren't saying one is better, you're saying they are on the same level.
Exactly. He is as tall as his brother. It suggests balance.
Now, what about when one thing causes another thing to change? I hear this pattern a lot in motivational speeches.
Ah, the double comparative. This is a very sophisticated pattern. It creates a cause and effect relationship.
Could you break that down with an example?
Sure, think about learning a skill. The more I study, the easier it gets.
The more I study, the easier it gets. So the studying causes the ease.
Precisely. Or a very common idiom, the bigger the better.
The bigger the better. I love that one. It's short and punchy.
It makes you sound very fluent because it connects two ideas seamlessly.
I have another scenario. Sometimes saying this car is faster isn't enough. Maybe it's only a tiny bit faster. Or maybe it is remarkably faster. How do we show the degree of the difference?
This is a crucial step for intermediate learners. We call this using a modifier. We add words before the comparative to show the scale.
So what if the difference is huge?
We use words like much, far, or way. So, this car is much faster than my bicycle.
Or this car is way faster. That sounds very natural.
Yes, way faster is very common in casual conversation. And if the difference is tiny,
Like a microscopic difference.
we use a little or a bit. For example, today is a little warmer than yesterday.
It adds so much color to the sentence. Instead of a black and white comparison, you were giving us shades of gray.
Exactly. It paints a clearer picture for the listener.
Speaking of clear pictures, let's zoom in on our current reality. The year is 2026. Technology is everywhere. How do these rules apply when we talk about our tech?
That is a great question. We are constantly comparing technology. We're obsessed with upgrades. Let's look at AI, or artificial
Oh,
intelligence.
definitely. I talk to my AI assistant every morning. How do we describe them?
We often focus on the word intelligent. Now, count the syllables. Intelligent, 4 syllables.
That is a long word. So we must use more.
Yes. You might say, my new AI assistant is more intelligent than the previous version.
More intelligent. That makes sense. What about hardware? We all care about our device batteries.
We care about efficiency. Efficient,
Yeah.
another long word. So we say, this is the most efficient battery we have ever built.
The most efficient. I feel like I hear that in every single tech commercial.
You certainly do. And here's a specific one for 2026 software. The word user-friendly.
Oh, user-friendly. That means it's easy and intuitive to use.
Even though it looks like a compound word, we treat it as a long adjective phrase. So we say the 2026 interface is much more user-friendly.
Much more user-friendly. I love that. It flows really well.
Using these correct comparisons makes you sound very professional when you're discussing technology or business specs.
However, even with all these rules, I know that learners can fall into some traps. What are the common mistakes we need to watch out for?
There are 3 big traps that I hear all the time. The first one is the double comparative. We touched on this with Gooder, but this is when people try to use both rules at the same time.
You mean like mixing the ending and the helper word?
Yes, someone might say more faster or more better.
Ouch. More better. That really hurts my ears.
It should. It is grammatically painful. It is redundant. You're saying the same thing twice. You must choose one method. It's either faster or more intelligent.
So keep it simple. Don't double up. What's the second mistake?
The second mistake is the missing the. When we use superlatives, the biggest, the best, the fastest, we're identifying one specific unique thing. So you almost always need the word the.
So I can't say Mount Everest is highest mountain.
No, that sounds incomplete. You must say Mount Everest is the highest mountain.
Right. It's the king of mountains, so it gets the title the.
Exactly. And the third mistake is logically interesting. It's comparing the wrong things.
What do you mean by that?
Imagine I say to you, my car is faster than you.
My car is faster than you. Well, I hope so. I'm a human, not a car.
Exactly. Grammatically, the sentence has a comparative structure, but logically it is flawed. You're comparing a machine to a person.
So how I fix it?
You need to compare the car to the other car. So you say, my car is faster than yours, meaning your car.
My car is faster than yours. That makes perfect sense. You have to keep the comparison balanced.
Precisely. It is a small detail, but it prevents confusion and shows you have control over the language.
These are fantastic tips. I want to add one strategy of my own before we move on. It is about manners and opinions.
Please share. Context and politeness are just as important as grammar.
Sometimes using a superlative like the best or the worst can sound a little aggressive. It sounds like you're stating a hard fact, even if it is just your personal feeling.
That is very true. If you are at a dinner party and you say, this is the worst food,
Yeah,
the cook might be very offended.
exactly. It sounds harsh. So, my strategy is to soften the blow. Add phrases like, in my opinion, or for me.
That is a very polite strategy. It frames the comparison as subjective.
So instead of saying Paris is the most romantic city, which sounds like a fact anyone could argue with, I would say, for me, Paris is the most romantic city in the world.
For me, that simple phrase changes everything. It invites agreement rather than an argument.
Right. It makes your English sound softer and much more conversational.
I think that is excellent advice for social situations.
Okay. We've learned the rules, the irregulars, the 2026 tech context, and the mistakes to avoid. I think it is time to shake things up a little bit.
I agree. Let's put this knowledge to the test with a game.
Let's play which is better. I'll give you two options, and you have to tell me which is better using our new grammar structures. Then you can challenge me.
I am ready. I love a good challenge.
Okay. Round one, a classic debate. Coffee versus tea. Which is better?
Oh, that is difficult. They both have their virtues, but I must say, coffee is more effective than tea for waking up in the morning.
More effective. Good use of the long adjective rule.
However, I will admit that tea is healthier than coffee in the long run.
Healthier. You swapped the Y for an I. Very nice.
Thank you. Okay, my turn. Round two, morning versus night.
Oh, definitely morning. No question. For me, the morning is the most peaceful time of the day.
The most peaceful. A lovely superlative. You are definitely a morning person.
I am. I love the quiet. Okay, last one. Round three. Big cities versus small towns.
This is a tough one. Big cities are certainly more exciting than small towns. There's always something happening.
Right. The energy is amazing.
However, small towns are usually quieter and cheaper than big cities.
Quieter and cheaper. You are right. It really depends on what you value in life.
That was fun. It shows how easily we use these structures to express our preferences and personality.
Absolutely. You really can't have a meaningful conversation without comparing things. It is how we evaluate the world around us.
We are coming to the end of our time, but we don't want to just leave you here. We want to give you something to do this week.
Yes, we have a weekly challenge for you.
I challenge you to look back at your week and identify the best thing that happened to you. Not just a good thing, but the best thing.
Think about it deeply. Use that superlative form. The best thing was, it's a great way to practice gratitude and grammar at the same time.
And remember, getting better at English is a journey. It takes time and patience.
That's right. I always say, life is not a competition, but your English can always get better.
That is wonderful advice. We hope this has helped you understand the differences between more, and all the rest.
We really enjoyed exploring the ins and outs of comparisons with you today.
Please don't forget to subscribe and catch our next episode on the Vivid English Podcast.
Yes. Be sure to tune into Vivid English Podcast next time. We can't wait to speak with you again.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.